All right, we are about to dive in and try to unlock the secrets of the human mind. But here's the thing you need to know. There's no single key. Instead, we're going to explore it through 7 really powerful and distinct lenses, and each one reveals a completely different part of the story. Let's get right into it.
I mean, this is the ultimate question, isn't it? Why do you have certain habits, or fears, or passions? The human mind is, without a doubt, one of the most fascinating puzzles in the universe. And it's a puzzle we all try to solve for ourselves every single day.
And that right there is the crucial point. There isn't just one simple answer. Instead, what modern psychology gives us is a kind of toolkit, a set of 7 unique lenses. Each of these lenses lets us zoom in on a different aspect of our behavior, giving us a much clearer piece of the overall picture.
Okay, so let's take a quick tour of this mental toolkit. We're going to look through each of these 7 lenses one by one to see exactly what part of the puzzle it reveals.
So first up, we've got the psychodynamic lens, and you can think of this one as the detective's lens. It comes from the work of people like Freud, and it suggests that our actions are really driven by unconscious motives and unresolved stuff from our past, especially our childhood. It's kind of like an iceberg. Our conscious mind is just that little tip you see above the water. So when you see someone with crazy road rage, this lens looks for those hidden, past experiences that are secretly fueling all that anger.
Next, we have the behavioral lens, or the scientist's lens. This one basically ignores what's going on inside your head and focuses only on what it can see, observable behavior. It argues that we are shaped almost entirely by our environment through a system of rewards and punishments. And the big takeaway here? If you want to change a habit, don't just bank on willpower. You got to redesign your environment to reward the behavior you actually want.
Now, in complete contrast to that, we have the humanistic lens, which I like to call the growth lens. This is the really optimistic perspective. It completely rejects the idea that we're just controlled by our past or our environment. Instead, it champions things like free will, personal growth, and our natural, built-in drive to become the best version of ourselves, a concept they call self-actualization.
Okay, now for the cognitive lens, or the computer lens. This view sees the mind as a super sophisticated information processor. Now, what's really fascinating about this one is its core idea. It's not the events in our lives that affect us, but our interpretation of those events. Our thoughts literally act like software that determines how we feel. So if you change the thought, you can actually change the outcome.
Time to pop the hood and look inside with the biological lens, our mechanics lens. This perspective looks at all the physical hardware, our brain, our genes, our hormones. It argues that everything psychological is, at its root, biological. So to understand things like stress or happiness, this lens tells us to look at our brain chemistry, our neural circuits, and even our genetic code.
Now let's zoom way out with the evolutionary lens. This perspective argues that our modern minds are basically running on ancient software. It asks, how did natural selection favor certain traits that helped our ancestors survive? You know, take jealousy. It feels so personal, right? But this lens sees it as an ancient adaptation, a kind of program designed to protect relationships and make sure our genes got passed on. And finally, we have the sociocultural lens, our global lens. This perspective is a powerful reminder that we just don't exist in a vacuum. It really emphasizes the incredible influence of our social and cultural context. You know, our family, our community, our country. It shows us that to truly understand a person, you have to understand their world.
So there we have it. The detective, the scientist, the optimist, the computer programmer, the mechanic, the ancestor, and the globetrotter. 7 really powerful ways of seeing. But here is probably the most important takeaway of all. Each one, on its own, is incomplete. If you rely on just one, you can end up with a pretty distorted view.
So if no single lens is enough, how do we see the whole person? Well, this is where modern psychology brings all these views together into one powerful integrated framework. It's called the biopsychosocial model, and believe me, it is the key to seeing the whole picture. This model shows how 3 different areas are constantly interacting to make you who you are. First, you've got your biology. That's our genes and brain chemistry, pulling from the biological and evolutionary lenses. Second is our psychology, so our thoughts, emotions, and learned habits, which draws from the cognitive, psychodynamic, and behavioral views. And third, our sociocultural world, our family, our culture, and all those social pressures. The real aha moment here is that none of these work alone. They are always influencing each other.
And this table just perfectly summarizes our entire toolkit. You can see how each perspective, from Freud's focus on the unconscious all the way to Skinner's unobservable behavior, offers a totally unique and valuable piece of the puzzle. Together, they form the foundation of that integrated biopsychosocial view we were just talking about.
So, what does all this mean for you, right now? Well, it means you now have this powerful new mental toolkit. You have 7 different ways to analyze and understand not just your own behavior, but the behavior of pretty much everyone around you.
And this really is the modern approach. It's what's known as an eclectic view. The smartest way to understand the incredibly complex puzzle of the human mind isn't to just pick one favorite lens, but to get really skilled at switching between them, using the right one for the right question to build a much richer, more complete picture.
So the next time you find yourself wondering, why did I do that? Or why on earth did they act that way? Remember your new toolkit. Was it biology, a learned habit, a thought pattern, maybe an echo from the past? The answer is probably a little bit of everything. And now you have the lenses to begin seeing it all. So, which one will you use to look at your world first?